Can I welcome to the stage, please, a few days after the release of his new album, 10 for the People, is Jamie Webster. Yeah. Yeah, good. How many times have you seen this guy's face in the last couple of days?
Too many.
Not enough. You need a microphone, Jamie. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Hello, everyone.
When you started playing music, what was the first time that you thought, all right, I'm going to prioritize music over something else? You know, whether that was like a job or, whatever it was.
Probably when I realised I was shit at football. When I was a young lad, I wanted to be a footy player like a lot of young lads, do you know what I mean? And once I got to about 12 or 13, I realised I'm not even the best player in my school year, do you know what I mean? I've got no chance of getting signed for Macclesfield, never mind Liverpool, do you know what I mean? And but I always loved music as a kid. I always loved it. And school I went to, I was from the north end of the city, but I'd done an exam and got into a school in the south end of the city. And there was a load of lads there who were banging into music, like playing guitars. Most of my mates weren't really into that. Mm-hmm. They were more into like wheeling bikes and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Still pretty cool.
Still cool, yeah. I used to be able to wheel a bike pretty well as well, but then I lost my bottle once I turned about 17 or something like that. But like I say, music was always something I loved. And I just started, like, the lad who actually plays guitar for me now and all the big gigs that I play, he plays guitar on me right hand side. His name's Danny, and he was my mate in school. I met him when I was 11, and he was always amazing on the guitar, like before I could even play it properly. And he used to bend me on loads of bands and say, like, listen to these, I reckon you'll like them, because I used to like rap when I was a kid, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he used to say, well, like, this fella's like, because I used to like what they were rapping about, the stories they told, and he used to say, like, well, this fella, Bob Dylan, he's like a rapper before there was rappers, sort of thing, you know what I mean? And he's like telling folk stories and stories about real life and this, that, the other. So like I was like instantly hooked on people like him once I was 15, and it was Bob Dylan, to be honest, was the person who made me think it was possible.
It's like when you have that moment and you find that record and you go home with it, it's a little bit of magic.
Yeah.
You're like, it's identity. I know it sounds a bit like sort of earnest, saying like I found my identity in music, but I think people do. I think that's what music does to people.
Yeah, Jeff. Oh, I just remember playing the guitar, and I wasn't very good at playing the guitar, and I still don't even think I'm very good at playing the guitar. I just make it work for myself, do you know what I mean? But like even singing wise, I don't think I've got particularly the best voice in the world either. Do you know, I wouldn't sit
You
here...
don't need the best voice.
No, I wouldn't sit here and say I'm the best at this or I'm the best at that, you know what I mean? But what I realised was when I listened to Bob Dylan was, you don't need to be. And like, he is the best lyricist ever, in my opinion. The stories that he tells and the things that he writes about, more importantly, were just, as a 15-year-old lad, like learning about the real world, it just spoke to me in a way that nothing else ever had. And he was writing about things in the 60s and 70s, and it was still the same now, and that's what I thought was... And all I thought to myself was, what he's playing on the guitar is not that complicated. His singing voice isn't technically the best, but what he's saying is he's just playing the chords that he can play, and he's telling the truth in the way that he sees it. And as a 15-year-old lad, that was proper inspiring. I thought, well, I can do that. If I can just do that, if I just write about like things that I'm seeing and things that I'm doing at this age, there's loads of other people, my age now, who were doing the same things, and loads of people older than me who've done that. And that's what I found with Bob Dylan. I found I could relate, because what he was writing about was real. So I thought, if I write about real things, or at least as real as I see them, then people will relate. And it's something that I never I never ever sort of, even when I was writing my first songs, which were probably terrible, do you know what I mean? But I remember my first ever song I wrote was called Don't Blame It on the Kids, do you know what I mean? And it was basically about like people who were going through bad things, but it was because they never had good guidance and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And it wasn't don't blame it on them, because it's they're a product of their environment. And this was 15, 16 years of age. It was a shit song, like, do you know what I mean? But, you know, the sentiment was that, do you know what I mean? And I've always just tried to write with my head and feet on the ground, to be honest with you.
And, like, taste is exposure. So when you heard Bob Dylan, or when some of the younger people or people all ages here today hearing your music, you know, it's because they've been exposed to you. You got exposed to Bob Dylan. I think about that a lot, about how you got to be quite lucky, I think, to have a mate or a family member introduce you to good music. Because once you got that, you're flying.
Well, yeah, that's the good thing. I've been doing these meet and greets for like the past couple of weeks on this like acoustic record store tour, and it's amazing. Like, you see, like, there's a group of friends. Do you know what I mean? And one of them says, "Oh, he's the one who got us all into here," or "She's the one who got us all into here," and you're like, you know, like, the first thing I do is just turn to look at that person and say, "Thank you for spreading the word."
Yeah.
And then, like, on the flip side, you get like people who come up to me with the mum or dad, and they say, like, "Me mum or me dad told me about you," and they're like 18 years of age, and I'm thinking, well, fair play for actually listening to your mum and dad on music taste, you know, at 18 years of age, because I probably wouldn't have, do you know what I mean? And then, you know, likewise, the other way around, when you get like a mum or a dad who comes up to you and says, "Oh, you know, my son's been blasting you in the car for the last 3 years, but I love it now. I didn't at first, but I love it now." And I'm like, well, thanks for persevering. You know what I mean? But it's great, and music can be found in mad ways. You know, like, you could... It obviously, like, it normally happens, well, it used to happen just by one of your mates saying, "Hey, have you heard this band?" or "I went to see this band," or "This band have brought this song out," or now it happens that you could be watching an advert, you can be, you know, listening to music that you already know, and next thing something new will come on one of them recommended playlists, and you find your new favourite band, and
that's it.
But you're just lucky just to get that exposure. I mean, I feel lucky to get that exposure that, like, initially come from like my back door through the football world, and I think it's so hard these days as a young artist to just be heard. Like, for me, I was really lucky because people already knew me from some sort of capacity, because either whether they loved me because I was part of the memories of the European Cup campaigns with Jurgen Klopp, or either they fucking hated me because they hate Liverpool Football Club, and I was that knobhead who had a guitar who sang every time they won a game. And I get it, because probably, you know, thinking about it, if there was a Man United fan doing what I was doing at the time, and Man United was successful at the time, probably take me a lot to listen to his music in the first place, do you know what I mean? But the fact that exposure was there, it eventually worked in the way that, like, I'm not writing about football anymore. I'm writing about real life, and I'm writing about what real life comes with. And I was an electrician for 9 years and a struggling musician for all of that time as well. Do you know what I mean? So I know exactly what real life is. I know the day-to-day of, you know, a 9-to-5 routine. I know the value of a day's graft. I know the value of a pound. Do you know what I mean? And thankfully, people with an open mind have been able to look past the football or look around it at least, you know what I mean, and give me a chance, and that's all I ask for, really. And, you know, you're not going to please everyone. That's not why you get in the game. You get in the game to tell your story or shine a light on things as you see it, and hope that people agree with you, and hope that, even better, it's a bonus if people take some comfort or some sense of community from it, where they think, hang on, I'm not on my own here, because, like, he's saying that and I think that, or that fella he's writing about there, that could quite easily be Bob from down the road, or that woman he's writing about there, that could be June from the Greengrocers, or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? It's that relativity that I'm going back to. That's what eventually gives you the further exposure once people listen to it and you realise that, well, you are writing for them, because I am them and they're me, sort of thing. And that's, I'm just buzzing to have got this far with it, you know what I mean?
I love that scene you set on the new record with the couple in the supermarket.
Yeah, Lovers in the Supermarket.
Because you see that, don't you?
Yeah, well, me and...
You see that in real life.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have made it magic. You've made a bit of magic out of that.
It's just real, but, like, life can be magic at times, life can be shit at times, you know what I mean? Life can be hard at times, we all know that, you know what I mean? But there is, obviously, even no matter what your situation is, there are moments of beauty, there are moments of magic, there are moments of happiness, and it's important to appreciate them and see them for what they are, because they smack you in the face every day. Do you know what I mean? And
He's got to pay attention.
yeah, I've been lucky enough to have been made aware of it, because you know I'm not in my 9 to 5 anymore. You know what I mean? And I work harder than I've ever worked in my life, by the way. You know what I mean? I think I'm on a 23-hour shift at the minute. You know what I mean? For the last few months, especially in an album campaign. But obviously, I love what I'm doing, and it's amazing. But Lovers in the Supermarket was one of them where me and me missus, we've got like a little thing where, you know, you see the elderly couples out and about, and we sort of like say, that'll be us in a few years. And one of us, she'll probably say to me, yeah, if I haven't fucking kicked you off a cliff first. Do you know what I mean? But, and, you know, but that was one of them moments where sometimes when you write a song, you write the music first, and sometimes you write the words first, and sometimes it's a bit of both. But this time, particularly with Lovers in a Supermarket, I'd written this music that just really like motivated me and moved me, and just it was just dead bright and warm, and it almost had that story there without the words being written. I was wrecking my brain for ages to see like what I could, and this is what I'm saying about it being real, what I could write about, because most of the things, like I say, I write about are pretty miserable and cynical most of the time, do you know what I mean? So I've got like a notes page on my phone, so if I see something that inspires me and moves me, makes me laugh, makes me feel anything, I'll just make a shorthand note, and when it comes back to hitting a concept for a song, I'll go back to that notes page and I'll be like, right, okay, let's focus in on that moment. Who was there? Where could they have been going? Where could they have been before that? What could they have going on in their lives? Who do I know that's like that? Whose character I can incorporate into this song? And that's what I do. That's why I hope the songs hit home with people the way that I intend to. I hope they resonate the way that they should. And Lovers in the Supermarket was one of them where I was having sleepless nights because I had this bit of music and this melody for it, but I had no words, and I didn't have the right sentiment that was just nice. Do you know, something nice for a change. I'd already done looking good, and that took every ounce of niceness I think I had in me to like that tune. So I was like trying to find something, and then thankfully my fiance, like I say, we've got that little thing in our relationship, and I was sat in my studio just outside Liverpool eating a bowl of scouse, and I'm on a wedding diet, so like scouse, as you know, is just meat, veg and water in it, you know what I mean? So obviously it's heavy, but you know what I mean, it's you know, it's light on the calories, you know what I mean? So I managed to shed a bit of weight while I was doing it. But anyway, I'm in the studio and I'm sat there eating my bowl of scouse, and my phone pings, and my fiance Rachel sends me a message, and it's just a picture of an elderly couple in a Tesco by ours, and they're walking, it's a true story, they're walking down the aisle, and each one of them's got a handle on the basket. That picture that's on the back of the album, which you might have seen, there's an actual real picture of that. You know what I mean? I got an artist to recreate that. And I posted online one day, probably when I talk about the song, but I didn't want to post it because I wanted to respect the privacy of the couple, do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. I didn't want to just play it's this old couple who've never met me before. All of a sudden, 250,000 people see them on Instagram, you know what I mean? Like, they might not want that. So, but they were a real couple, and, you know, all of a sudden, all the people that I sort of, I knew in my life, the elderly couples, you know, I wanted to infuse. It hit me, I was like, Lovers in the Supermarket, that's it. Me nan, me granddad, you know, the couple who ran the shop, you know what I mean? The people who I used to, when I was a paper boy, I used to deliver the paper to, and they'd tip me with an after eight instead of a quid. You know what I mean? All of that, all of them people.
Sexy chocolate.
Yeah, I ate after eight as well, but I'd never have, you know, I'd just say, thank you very much. You know what I mean? I'd probably give it to me dad when I got home, but... yeah, like I say, I wanted to incorporate all these people into the story, but the message that I wanted people to take from it was that, look, if you're lucky enough to have lived that long for a start, you know, then for seconds, if you've managed to spend so much of your life with someone that you see them as an extension of yourself, no matter who, whether it's, you know, whether it's a spouse or whether it's a, you know, a child or, you know, a parent or whatever it is, you know, even if it's a friend, do you know what I mean? If you're lucky enough to have spent that long with someone, you've got such a deep-rooted relationship where you feel like you're two branches off the same tree, that's even more amazing. Thirdly, if you've managed to build some sort of family or network or community in which you've built so much of a deep understanding and built the most amazing memories in life, that's real wealth as far as I'm concerned, you know. Like, it's not the materialistic wealth that we all think is real wealth. You know, look, it's nice to have nice things, and if you work hard for it, you can reward yourself in any way possible. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Go and do what makes you happy. But what I'm saying is, the key to your happiness shouldn't be motivated by that materialistic wealth. You should be happy first, and then, you know, move on the path, work hard in your career, and that should come next, do you know what I mean? But it's about being happy within yourself and the people that you've got around you, because, you know, at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, at the end of the day, what good's a fucking handbag? Do you know what I mean? And, you know, even still, if I were to ask someone in this room where you want to be in 10 years, I'm sorry for my language as well, but, you know, I'm just being real, to be honest with you, and I'm passionate about what I say. But if I were to say to you, where do you want to be in 10 years' time? And you turn around to me and you said, well, I want, you know, 10 Lamborghinis, an house in Bel Air, penthouse in New York, 10 million quid, and 10 Rolexes. I'd say you're a bit of a tit, to be honest with you. I'd say, like, you know, if you were to ask me, in all honesty, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Well, I'm getting married in May, so if I'm still married in 5 years' time, that'd be a great start. If I'm still, obviously, you know, if I'm still able to be doing this, entertaining, connecting with people of some capacity with me music, whether it is 100 people like this, or whether it's 1,000 or 10,000 people, whatever. I know my career as an artist tends to be short-lived, but if I can do this in any sort of capacity for as long as I can and live my dream, thanks to you people, by the way, if I can still do that, and you people are still here supporting me, then I'll be happy as well. Better still, if I've still got my little dog Paulie and maybe a couple of kids of my own, be a champion as far as I'm concerned, and I'll be a happy man. And that's what Lovers in the Supermarket was sort of inspiring. That's what I was feeling when I wrote the song, and I hope that people have took to it the way that it was intended, because even singing it in the studio, I was tearing up, thinking of people. And there's moments in the recording where you can probably hear like my voice goes a bit thin and my throat sounds a bit welled, and it's because I'm stopping myself from crying as I'm doing it, you know what I mean? And like I say, all I'm trying to do is just be as real as possible, and, you know, as long as the right people take, you know, the right message from it, then that's what I'm here to do, nothing else. Do you know what I mean?
Love that. There's that one line where you're singing about a lump in your throat and you can hear it.
Yeah. It's
a great moment.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I was just picturing people that I knew, and you know, some of them, like you say, not here anymore and stuff like that, and you just, you know, it's home, and it's sometimes, you know, you don't necessarily want that from a song, but sometimes you do, and sometimes you can have a bit of a tear, and it makes you happier. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Sometimes it does. It's a bit of therapy in it, crying and grieving. But yeah, that's that song in a nutshell. Like,
what do you do when you're not on top of your mountain? You know, you're a creator, a creative. Every day you're like testing yourself. You're challenging yourself. You want to keep on writing. Some of those days aren't as smooth as others. Those rockier days where you wake up and you're just not feeling so good for whatever reason. How do you deal with that?
At first, I didn't really know how to be honest with you. I think one of the first times I ever experienced that sort of thing through this industry, which it's mad because people suffer in so many different ways, and that's right. But the problem that I had with it was I was having imposter syndrome, because I was thinking, like, I don't have the right to feel this way because I'm doing this. Do you know what I mean? I should be fucking thanking me lucky stars for everything I've got, and I was. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes, like, you know, the thing was with me was I released my first album, We Get By, it was during COVID. I recorded it the day before we went into lockdown in March. I recorded the last song, and we went into this lockdown, and at first it gave me motivation because we had the campaign, you know what I mean? We had all these ideas to try and get people interacting with it, and the football had stopped as well, so that actually helped because people weren't seeing me singing, you know, LA, LA, LA all around the world, and then trying to sell an album about real life at the same time, you know what I mean? So I think there was blessings in disguise which really got me through COVID, the first part of it. But then my album released top 10, I was buzzing again, thanks to all you people, and, you know, over the moon. And then all of a sudden you thought we were getting out of it, and I thought, here it is, because what people do is when they release an album, they tour, they play gigs, they make people fall in love with it even more because they have memories to it then, you know, to certain songs and everything else. And, you know, it's always better live, I think, anyway, you know what I mean? Like, when you're in the room, particularly one of my gigs as well, anyway, the energy that's going between the crowd and myself, it's just something I've never felt so high off in my whole life, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And some of those videos, all of those videos are mad. Yeah,
it's crazy, but, yeah, it's just, what was the original point?
You know, when you're not feeling so good.
Oh, when I'm not feeling good.
You know you've got something you've got to try to create that day.
Well, at first it was because when it all stopped and I realised that there there's nothing I could do to change the situation. That like me numbers after they went up, they all started going down. You know, people are getting less engaged. You see it on socials, you see it on your Spotify stats, you see everything, and you know, again, your gigs are just getting put back and back and back. And then at some point, I just thought, nah, I'm going to get fit. Do you know what I mean? I started running, I started cycling, and it like proper helped me out an awful lot. And also I started writing Moments, which is my second album, and I thought, well, what else can I do other this time with what I've got? You've got to use the hand you dealt, you've got to use the tools, I can't gig. Well, I've got a guitar in my house, I've got a pen and paper, you know what I mean? So let's do another one, you know what I mean? Alright, I've just done an album. Really, I wanted to be on the road for 3 years touring that album and then coming out to release Moments, but you know, sometimes life's a bit of a shithouse, to quote Brian Potter. And yeah, but like I say...
So you got back to it. The answer was writing, just keep on writing.
Yeah, and then like coming out of that, I was buzzing because I went out and I toured basically Moments and We Get By together, which was boss. But then like obviously your profile grows and then I started getting shit online and like you proper like... Normally I could rise above it because it was like just a couple of little melts and you just think like you don't know me, you know what I mean? You haven't got a, you know, you might think I'm soft because I play guitar and I walk around like a nice, like, well I am a nice person, do you know what I mean? And I put myself across like a nice person, not like some hard case. But, you know, you don't know me from minute one, you don't know what I do for people, you don't know how I conduct myself day to day, and you've got all these opinions, and then all of a sudden, that never bothered me, but then something happened where like there was a video of me that went viral for supporting a friend, and I got absolutely crucified like for days on end, like days on. It was an onslaught, like digging up pictures of family members, digging up pictures of me from when I was 16, 15 years old, thousands of likes on comments attacking me appearance, attacking me heritage, you know, as a Scouser, attacking everything really, and I didn't get out of bed for weeks, to be honest with you, do you know what I mean? It hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was an hard thing to deal with. I feel more sorry for my fiancée than anyone else, because she was the one who had to sit there and try and dig me out of it, and it was hard as fuck, do you know what I mean? Because you even though you think to yourself that like, well, what do they know, what does it matter? But I'm telling you, once you see thousands of people, like literally thousands of people attacking you, that don't know you, making assumptions about you that so wide of the mark, it's just unbelievable, do you know what I mean? It does it, yeah, and obviously you've got to go out then, when you go to Tesco, someone comes over who's a fan, and they're like, "Jay, mate, you're alright," and you've got to go, "Bump, hiya, mate, you're alright, yeah, what's happening, yeah, do you want to..." And you do it, of course you do, because they've done nothing wrong, do you know what I mean? But then, even to just do that, and then you come back to yourself and you think, what the fuck is my life here? Am I like, you know, I'm going from like not being myself in public, like to, you know, my head was shocking, it was scrambled, and I sucked therapy, you know what I mean? I had to seek therapy, and sometimes you just need someone to tell you that you're not going fucking nuts. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need someone who doesn't even know you sometimes to tell you that it's going to be alright, that things can change, and like that these are just feelings, and feelings go away, and then give you coping mechanisms to dealing with them feelings. And to be honest, me missus was a massive one, obviously, speaking to her, speaking to me family, which I'm lucky to have, of course. Friends was okay. I've got a lot of good friends, but what I got back from my friends was, "Ah, lad, well, you're a name now, and that just comes with it, and you're going to have to deal with it." And while that is true, it's true, it doesn't necessarily mean that it makes it any easier or it gives you any tools to do it, you know what I mean? So my head was chocker, but then obviously I got back out and I managed to gig and do festivals, and training again was massive, getting me little dog. He was therapy in himself, do you know what I mean? Yeah. He was a belter, and managed to realise what a lucky lad I was, and see all that again, and reconnect with people again, and like feel happy doing what I was doing, and you know, I was not that I was never unhappy, but just certain elements of it were making it hard to do. Like I couldn't write when I was in that frame of mind. I couldn't like process like information properly. I couldn't like, you know, I weren't myself. Do you know what I mean? And people, everyone struggles in their own different ways, and if you ever have, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know, you try your best and you put on a brave face when you have to, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Now, thankfully, what I realised was not everyone is going to like you, and that's what you're going to have to deal with. And for every 10 people that do like you, there's going to probably be 10 people that don't like you. And for every 10, 11 people that are saying good things, there's going to be 1, 2 or 3 saying horrible things. And that's just life. That's their prerogative. They don't know you. And you shouldn't try and change the mind because, you know, they're making the mind up on whatever they're making it up anyway, you know what I mean? But what you should concentrate on is the people, again, you people, is the people who do fucking like you. And, you know, make sure you give them what they're giving you. And, you know, like each other and then turn that like into something more. You know, you fucking love each other then, you know what I mean? You build relationships like, which is more than just a fan base, do you know what I mean? And that's what I pride myself on doing. I pride myself on the fans that I've got because they're some of the realest people you'll ever meet. And, you know, to be able, the way that people include me in their day-to-day life because of the music and the words that I'm saying and the way that I carry myself and the message that I have, they make you feel like I haven't drank or took any hard drugs for a long time, do you know what I mean? And, like, that's because 4 years I've been off the ale completely for, and there's no feeling like the feeling that people give you. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm on stage, that's 100% sober, you know what I mean? And like being lifted by people who you don't know, just championing you. That's like, I was like, wow, like sometimes you're just like, wow, fucking hell, I am the luckiest lad in the world, do you know what I mean? And you realise just how amazing it is to have what you've got. And then, again, you use that when you have your bad days, and your shit days, you know, you think about the good times, like, you know, fucking album releases, meeting people, gigs, fucking, you know, gigs that I never thought I'd play, festivals I never thought I'd play, meeting people I never thought I'd meet, working with people I never thought I'd work with, you know, being, which I used to find the maddest, being in some way a role model, you know what I mean? That's fucking insane. Getting asked to do speeches, getting asked to go and visit people in hospital, getting asked to go into schools, getting asked to talk to lads who are off the beaten track a little bit, you know what I mean? To be able to do that, you know, is mad. And like, what a lucky thing to be able to do, and how lucky am I that people think that way, you know what I mean? And I don't make a song and dance about it because it's not about that, you know what I mean? I don't like... You won't see a post from me if I go into a hospital to see a sick kid or to go into a school to speak to kids who need speaking to. You won't see that from me. You know, if I go into a prison or whatever like that, which is something that I'm looking into, it won't be like profiled from me because it's not about me. It's about them and being able to give back to people who, you know, to the community and the city, more importantly, that give me so much in the instance. Yeah. You know, it's insane, and like I'm not saying I'll never feel let down again because you never know what life's gonna throw at you. But like, I know now I've got the tools to cope with, I think, most things that life throws at me. Do you know what I mean? And that's down to experience, which is obviously unfortunate that you have to go through them things to learn them things. But it's like, it's the most cringy and cliche saying ever, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger in every way, you know what I mean? And again, it's the people who made me stronger. And going on to the motivation of the album, 10 for the people, all of them things what I've just spoke about and more is what's inspired me to write this album, including like no real industry backing. I thought, I'm not going to write this next album for a radio DJ who's not going to play me anyway, or a television show that's not going to put me on anyway, or, you know, some executive in a tweed blazer with elbow pads, do you know what I mean? It's not, sorry to anyone who's wearing one, by the way, I'm only messing, it's just a figure of speech. But, you know, I'm not going to write for them, I'm going to write for the people who put me where I am each and every single day, and that's every fan that I've ever had. And I'm going to tell their story, and my story, and our story, and life as we see it. And, you know, if someone can just take some sort of solace from that and they listen to it, not only do they like the tunes and it makes them move and makes them smile, but if there's a message in there that someone can take and use it in the day-to-day, that's a bonus. But then if someone can feel like they're not alone in a fucking crazy, chaotic society or world, then that's a number 2, do you know what I mean? And yeah, I'll always write for the people who put me where I am. That's why there's no songs about champagne lifestyles that I don't live, do you know what I mean? Or got no interest in living, because that's not real life to me, and it's not real life to the people who put me where I am. So why the fuck do they want to hear about it?
It's a mutual relationship. You're inspiring other people are inspiring you. That's the cycle of it.
Yeah, well, it is. It's the simplest version of socialism that I believe in. To be honest with you, mate, it's like we can all do as well for ourselves as rule number one. We can all do as well as we want to, as long as you give back. You know what I mean? And it's literally as simple as you help me out and I'll help you. You climb on my back and I'll climb on yours next time. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not that hard, and I feel like it's lost on many people in today's world because of society and like, you know, the bottom line being so much more important than just decent fucking humanity. Do you know what I mean? It's mad for footballers to be able to campaign, for footballers to have to campaign for kids to be fed out of school. That's insane. Why is that? Why aren't children being fed? Do you know what I mean? It's one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Do you know, like, what on earth's going on there? Like, this is why I wish I didn't have to write songs about things like that. I wish I didn't have to highlight things like that. But my intention is to write about life, and unfortunately, whether people see it or not, today's politics affect your life, especially our life, people like us, in some way or another. Whether you realise it or not, they do. And to write about your life, I have to write about what it's affected by and how it's that way. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, people make bad decisions, but sometimes people have got no fucking chance from the start because of people who are only asked about giving to their own and lining their own pockets when they're supposed to be in positions that are supposed to look after the welfare of everybody and to make a better way of it for everyone. It's shit that musicians have to use the profile to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'd be out of a job if I didn't, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know what else to write about. But yeah, what I write about and what we're talking about there is the respect I have for my fans because of the respect that they give me. That's just the simplest version of how life could work. You know what I mean? It's just like a little bit more fairness, a little bit more respect, a little bit less profit at the top, and a little bit more shared at the bottom. It's not that hard, do you know what I mean? And people tell us, oh, you're going back to communism. It's not fucking communism, do you know what I mean? I know there was a Labour government that was, you know, struggled in the 70s. I understand that, I get told that all the time, but that doesn't mean that we're supposed to be the most intelligent human beings that we've ever been, with them access to the most information that we've ever got. So why are we still carrying out, you know, why are we still reading from laws that were written hundreds of years ago? Why are we still acting, you know, in warfare the way that we acted hundreds of years ago? Times evolved, information's evolved, people have evolved, intelligence has evolved. Surely we can sit down at a table and really work out a way which is better for everyone, you know what I mean? But what that means is ultimately people at the top have to sacrifice some of their pot, and they just fucking don't want to. For what reason ever, I don't know, because they'd never be able to spend that money in a million lifetimes, do you know what I mean? Neither would the kids, neither would the snotty-nosed grandkids, do you know what I mean? But like, you know, I'll keep banging the drum until I pop, to be honest with you, lads, you know what I mean? But like, at the end of the day, if something changes, it changes. But like, what we need to remember is that we can take a bit of community and a bit of pride knowing that we're in this together, and that like, and also a bit of hope that like there's more of us than there is them. Do you know what I mean? There really is. And I'm not saying we all need to go and get into politics and start reading books, because fucking life's hard enough as it is, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that, but we can start off by being nicer people for a start, you know what I mean? You can start by greeting someone with a smile instead of a snarl, or keeping your face straight, because it takes more muscles to keep your face straight or frown than it does to smile. It takes 12 muscles to smile, 48 to frown, alright? You start off by doing that for a start, you know? And then, you know, if you've got a bit to give it, and not by buying a fucking album, and you won't hear it. But believe me, after the end of this month, I can't wait to not ask people to buy an album. Believe me, it's part of the job that I have to do. Do you know what I mean? And when, you know, most of the year round, I just do me gigs and everything else, and I ask people to buy tickets instead. I'm only messing, obviously, but you know, part of my job in an album campaign is to try and promote the album in any way possible, and that's what I do. But I can't wait to stop that. And but you can, you know, instead of fucking $4.99 on an album or whatever, a tenner on an album, maybe give it to local community centre which needs it. I'm not talking about food banks, I'm talking about community run food unions who give it to the people first hand that matter. You know, it doesn't take a lot, even just getting rid of some of your old clothes, you know what I mean? Like going through your wardrobe and helping out where you can, do you know what I mean? That's a start. And then maybe you might find some sort of sense of enthusiasm from it, you know what I mean? You might find a sense of pride from it. It does feel good to do them things, and then you go from there. I'm not saying that, you know, we're all going to change the world here tonight, but small changes where we lead by example as people in the community, as people, as neighbours, as friends. Do you know what I mean? Small little things like that about being a nicer person. We're setting an example to the knobheads who are supposed to know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? And we're leading by example. And to be honest, especially in a city like Liverpool, we've always had that sense of community. We've always led the way. But let's, you know, amplify it in any way we can. And I try and do that with my music. I try and do that whenever I can. You know, I'm involved with a lot of charities and things like that. Again, not for profile, just to help. But we can all do that. And again, even if you're feeling down, coming together and doing something good for someone, that can make you feel better. Do you know what I mean? Because it gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of belonging. And, you know, it's always nice to just be nice, innit? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's lost on a lot of people. It really is. Especially when you go to some of the places I've been and some of the rooms and offices I've been into. But, you know, like I say, we can lead by example as salt of the earth people who make the world go round every single day.
I think there's a way of talking about this that's actually like a celebration, that we can talk about the rubbish stuff, the bad stuff, and realise that the way we can spread that message and encourage positive changes by celebrating what we do have and thinking about what we could do. And a big part of that is celebrating achievements or celebrating moments. This week is a massive celebration for you for the record. The next one is Sefton Park in July. 40,000 people. I mean, it's like a festival venue that you're going to be headlining with Brooke.
Oh, she's amazing, isn't she?
I mean, tell us about that. Like, how do you even go about booking somewhere like that? You've got a great and small, intimate team with Modern Sky and Virgin. It's a group of people putting your heads together, being like, okay, how can we make the biggest celebration, the biggest party for us all come together? What's the start of that process look like?
Started that as a promoter with a lot of balls in the first place to even bring that to the table. Because, you know, to go from, all right, 2 nights at the Pierhead, which is 24,000 people, to jump to 40, it's, you know, it's not like, you know, it's not just asking a couple of extra family members to come along, is it? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a big jump, and you know, whether that pays off or not, we'll yet to be seen. We've still got a good way to go with tickets, but we're moving nicely now. And, you know, look, the funny thing with that is my bucket list was to do the O2 Academy when I first started out doing this. If I could sell out the O2 Academy and maybe do a couple of 200 cap shows in other cities, I'd been buzzing with that, you know what I mean? Just like, because that was somewhere where people told me I wouldn't get to. And, you know, obviously as a young scouser, you've got that challenge accepted attitude every time you're told no. So like that was it for me. But then like once you just start doing it was just mad, the whole trajectory, to be honest, because we'd done a 600 cap gig in the Arts Club just before COVID. It was my first ever gig with a band since releasing music, which was in 2020 in February. And my next gig from 600 people was in September 2021, Montford Hall, 2,500 people. 3 months later than that was 3 nights at the Olympia, 2,000 people a pop. So Madness. In the space of 3 months, we in this city we played to, you know, over 8,000 people, and that's when the promoter said, "Well, right, we're gonna do the arena because you've almost sold it out there in them 4 gigs." So, you know. And I was like, mate, like, half of them people probably came to each one of them gigs, do you know what I mean? Like, I've got fans that absolutely, like, put themselves on the line every time and support me at everything. So, and the front row's normally the same front row every hometown gig, do you know what I mean? And I recognised that, you know what I mean? So, for that, I was like, well, do you really think so? And he was like, nah, like, honestly, we're going to do this. And this was a promoter who was probably, like, funny, picking me up from the Liverpool stuff, who was the bitterest Evertonian you'll ever meet. And he was like, look, I fucking hate Liverpool, but like what you're doing's fucking great, and we can do an arena show. That was when we done the Zanzibar at 300, and I couldn't believe it when we actually booked it. And you're like, you know, fucking what we? I remember walking to Chippy and doing the video to say that we were doing the arena show, and it was just a surreal moment. And then you do an arena, and you're like, oh, that was boss. And he's like, right, we're putting Pierhead on sale 3 days after it. 12,000 people, and we're doing 2 nights. And I was like, it took us 7 months to sell out 11,000 people at the arena. People have just seen me, aren't they going to be sick of me? Do you know what I mean? And then sale goes on, first 12,000 sells out in an hour and a half. The next 6,000 go over for the next day. We were basically sold out 1.5 shows in 12 hours, which was just ridiculous.
Well,
do you know
how
what I
do
mean?
you celebrate that? What's the first thing that you do? Where does your mind go to?
Pack a crisp on the couch. Chili heat wave Doritos, probably.
That's great.
Yeah, and it was mad. So I was buzzing. So we knew that, like, with 7 months to spare, that we were going to sell the other thing, the other Thursday out, and then it was like, right, Sefton Park, and again, it happens, and you don't really quite realise it until you're doing it or you've done it, because at the moment, Sefton Park is just numbers on a page at the minute, do you know? But then it's when you get down there and you see the fences and you see the toilets and you see the burger vans and you see the stage and you see, you know, the vans that have been there, and you see the security on site, and you think, fuck, this is, you know, this is because I'm doing a gig. Are you messing? You know what I mean? Sort of thing. And like, you know, you just, you know, council workers are involved. Everyone's involved. It's, you know, the sense of pride that fills you is again, it's one that every single time tends to, because I am a sensitive soft git, as you know, on the slide. Like I do put a brave face on a lot of the time, but I am quite a sensitive, emotional person with things like that. And I'm always thinking about what's coming next. That's just who I am. I'm like ADHD, like move on to the next thing. You know, agitated as anything, just fidgety, don't shut up, as you can tell, and everything else. And I'm always thinking, what's the next thing? But when I do manage to like sit and take in some of the amazing experiences that I've had, and it's not me trying to blow my own trumpet, it's just me sat there thinking, wow, you know, and just seeing it again, just seeing the pictures of a lot of the people in this room, do you know what I mean? And like, seeing people arm in arm with the mates or the family members, like tears in their eyes, screaming words to me song, people throwing roses at me feet to no offend kids, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's like storybook shit, and it's just like when you have them moments of like realisation, which I'm trying to make sure I have more of, because it's important to, this is like what Love Is in the Supermarket's about. It's important to appreciate the good things in life and celebrate them, just as you're saying, you know what I mean? It's important to do that, because otherwise what you do it for? Do you know what I mean? So when you have them moments, it does reduce me to tears now and again, because not like, you know, bubbling, blubbering, like whinging, but like, you know, you have like tears of pride almost, do you know what I mean? And like, you know, when you look at your family and you see your family in tears, because they're proud of you, that's another thing where you think, like, you know, I'm made up, I've been able to make my mum and dad that proud of me, do you know what I mean? Because that, you know, it certainly didn't make my dad proud for me when I was working for him as an electrician, I'll tell you that much. Jesus Christ, he couldn't know. When I told him I was going to quit to do music, he couldn't have kicked me out the work van quicker, I'm telling you. But yeah, like I say, that sense of pride is something that, like, and them moments, like you say, them important moments, like obviously it looks like someone's took a number 1 off me this week, but no one can take what I've got with you people away from me, or what I've had with you people away from me. No one can ever disturb them memories that I've got, because they're already locked up there in the bank. And like, even just meeting some of you today has been absolutely amazing. Like, you just don't understand what fucking great people you are, like to make me feel the way that you do. You know, you might say the same thing to me, but it's reciprocated like 100 times over, because I understand that without you people and all the other people who come to these events and who support me music in the way that they do, that I'm not nothing, but I'm just an artist playing on his own. Do you know what I mean? I'm not getting any wealth from it. You know what I mean? Like, even if I was getting paid to do it online, you know what I mean, and not playing to you people, I haven't got the memories that I've got, and I value that over any amount of money that I could ever earn in this industry. And that's why, like I say, without trying to sound like a fucking massive pillar in the community or like some sort of humanitarian fucking, what, I don't know, tithead, you know, I do really appreciate it, and I will always be true to the people that put me where I am, and that's you. And yeah, like I say, I've worked, this is funny, this is called the 101 part-time jobs. I've played in some of the roughest pubs you could ever imagine. I've used to get fucking mugged on me paper round. Do you know what I mean? For me paper money. You know what I mean? And for me, well, they try and get me bike, but they never would. All the money, to be honest, I just end up with a little... But like I say, like, I've had some of the shittest jobs in the world, but now I'm doing the best job in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, I first went on tour with Liverpool to America, and I was flying on the plane with the team, coming home, and it was like, it was just after the final in Kiev, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Do you know what I mean? It was like, just seeing them, like being on a plane with them, coming off in the airport with them, and we got dropped off at Liverpool's offices in town at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I got picked up by the lad I was working with and went over to Birkenhead and started wiring cables in a loft full of rats and rat shit, and I thought, fucking hell, wow, what a come down from grace that was. And so yeah, when you talk about like part-time jobs and, you know, doing shit jobs to get you to where you want to be, like, even if you're in one now, do you know what I mean, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Do you know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen, you never know what's around the corner, you never know like what you can find in your life at any age. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's just, it's boss to be doing what I'm doing now, and just thanks for it. Just, yeah, don't know what else to say on that one.
We'd love to ask a couple of questions from the audience. Yeah, we got a guy at the back. Shout it out.
You've seen the official charts tonight, what they released an hour ago?
I haven't, but I know we're still number 2. We're number 2 because, first and foremost, there's the band that are number 1 are like, they're on an incredible trajectory. They've just won a Brit Award, a BBC Sound Award. They've been on every television show known to man, and they've been on the news. They've been on all, they've had a lot of money pumped into them, but look, taking nothing away from them, because they are 5 very talented young women, and I've got nothing but respect for anyone in this industry who makes a go of it, because it's a hard, cutthroat industry, and you know the numbers that they are doing for a debut album, they're already like 10,000 ahead of what we predicted they'd be at this point, and it's like they're on they're on a rise, and that's good on them, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, we thought that we'd be a lot closer going into it because of the numbers that we were doing, but we couldn't see theirs. And then it's amazing what a bit of telly can do for you, mate, I'm telling you. But yeah, but like I say, I'm taking no, obviously I was a bit gutted earlier in the week because when we entered the chart, when we first got the numbers, we thought that we were still on. We thought that, like, okay, they were ahead, but they weren't that far ahead. We could turn this around. And then we got next day's results, and you're like, okay, they've gained some numbers, but so have we. And we've still got a few tricks that we could pull out. But to do that, I feel like I would have been asking a lot for me fans as well, also. And I really didn't want to take some of the next steps because certain fans, you see, will buy, and I understand they will buy every edition of your album, just to do it. And like, there comes a fine line between, supporting an artist and having the advantage took of you a little bit, you know what I mean? And it's a way to get results, don't get me wrong. And maybe if we were closer, I might have compromised those beliefs. But, speaking honestly, but there was at the time, I thought, like, this is the time to not ask anymore, because even if the fans would have stepped up and done it, we'd have still been hoping and praying that they weren't going to sell any more albums, and it looks like they're not going to stop. You know what I mean? It looks like it could be, well, I'd say this year, even with some of the biggest release, this will probably be one of the highest chart toppers. And fair play to them because they are very talented. And I listened to one of the songs through gritted teeth the other day when I'd sort of thought, these are going to be tough to catch. Let's see what it's all about. And it was a fucking good song, I thought. So, like I say, I'm not going to sit here and get into a cat fight with 5 talented young women for trying to do their job. You know what I mean? It's not my style. I don't work like that. I'd be a fucking, what's the word? I'd be contradicting everything I've just said if I were to do that. So it looks like, but look, we've got competition for number 2 as well. So like, you know, I am going to be on the front foot still, you know, to try and promote the album as much as I can. And that's my right as well as an artist to do that. That's why we release. That's how we gain momentum, is by talking about the album and trying to sell it. But yeah, like I say, it would have took a Divock Origi miracle to get to number 1. But you know, I'm on course to have my highest chart top ever. You know, we've done number 6, number 3, now number 2. If there's anywhere to go from number 2, there's only one place. But I've said number 1 on 2 campaigns now, and it's not happened. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut about that number when I next release an album, and I'm just going to promote my album. I'm not going to say that position until I'm finally there with a gold plaque. And until that, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, keep my head down, keep writing for the people who put me where I am. And yeah.
Jamie, thank you so much for giving us your time and your stories, your effort. This is the magic stuff. I love, you know, these stories. This is the meaning of the songs, right? This is the heart and the soul behind the songs. Thanks so much for giving us this tonight.